I'm Chad, and welcome to Virtual Reality, where I like to start some of my vlogs because virtual reality is a place where we can go fast. So without further ado, let us go fast. And we also like virtual reality because it is a place where we can do wheelies. So in today's video, we are going to talk about a modification that is very common with Aprilia Tuono V4s, RS V4s, and I think the RS 660 and maybe even the Tuono 660 as well. And that is updating your ECU. Now there's a few different ways that I am aware of that you can do this, including the Aprilia Race ECU Flash, the OpenFlash tuning tablet, and the Gabro up map. As well as, of course, getting an actual dyno tune specific to your exact motorcycle. So we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about each of these, at least as much as I know about them, but perhaps this could educate you a little bit or give you some kind of a foundation to do a little bit more research on yourself if you're looking at flashing your Aprilia as a complement to an aftermarket exhaust, an air filter, some other kind of power modification. So let's quickly just elaborate a little bit on when an ECU flash to your Aprilia would be necessary. For the Tuono V4 and RS V4 particularly, you're going to need an ECU reflash with pretty much any and every aftermarket exhaust you put on the bike. Now this is because most aftermarket exhausts for the Tuono V4, specifically the 17 to 20 Tuono V4s, which is what I know most about, will remove the catalytic converter. It's basically a header back exhaust, since the catalytic converter is contained within the entire stock exhaust unit. Being that you don't have as much back pressure and resistance, especially since you won't have the exit valve anymore if your Tuono or RS V4 are a 2017, 18, 19, or 20, you're going to need to adjust your fueling to compensate, because there are areas in the rev range where the bike will run richer or leaner than it really should be, because it was designed to have that restriction that the catalytic converter and exit valve created. Now if you ride your bike without a flash and an aftermarket exhaust for a little while, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal, but over the course of time it can do damage to your engine. Running lean wears your valve seats faster, and knock or pre-ignition is no good as well. So definitely want to flash your ECU and make sure that it is optimized for your machine. So let's first talk about the Aprilia Race ECU, which is what I have on my bike in combination with my SC Project CRT exhaust, which of course is totally okay because, as we've already established in this video, this is virtual reality where there are no rules but the rules that we make. The Aprilia Race ECU is basically the most basic ECU flash that you can get to compensate for an aftermarket exhaust without a cat or the exit valve. It disables the exit valve and also adjusts the air-fuel ratios so that you are not running too lean in certain areas. Now notice I say that you are not running lean into certain areas. The reason I say that specifically and only is because a Race ECU basically just richens up the entire air-fuel mixture in any condition, which is totally fine for reliability and longevity, but does make things a little bit dirtier, and it is not optimized for power. That said though, the throttle maps, which you get to keep all three throttle maps that the bike comes with stock, Sport, Track, and Race, which adjust the way power is delivered and the way that the throttle opens, basically just the whole correlation between opening the throttle and what happens in terms of power. So it maintains Sport, Track, and Race. They still all give you full access to full power, still make power in the same way that they would. Throttle response is still pretty similar, as far as I'm aware anyways, and engine braking is still characteristic of what those maps originally are intended to do. Now in my personal opinion, the throttle response is still very good. The only other experience I have is with a bike that had an OpenFlash tune, which also had excellent throttle response, But based on what I have heard from friends that have ridden stock 210 V4s and owned stock 210 V4s, it seems like the throttle mapping is actually quite smooth, but even the race ECU will dial out just a little bit of low RPM lurchiness with the engine. There still is a little bit, but as soon as you get up over 4,000 RPM, throttle's nice and smooth. Now again, this is the most generic flash out there. Any Aprilia dealer can load it onto your bike or your ECU if you want to ship it to them. AF1 Racing is a retailer that will do this for you. You can remove your ECU from your bike, ship it to them. They will flash it to have the race ECU, and they will send it back to you. And you can just plug it back in and be on your way. Of course, after having the throttle position sensor and everything else recalibrate itself. But your bike's really not going to make any additional power. It's just going to maybe be a little bit smoother, and also, again, not have the potential to make your engine go boom from running too lean. So I didn't actually choose the race ECU for this bike. It came with it, as well as the exhaust, when I made my virtual reality purchase, and I've been pretty happy with them, so haven't needed to repurchase or recode anything in virtual reality. It's been good. So next, let's talk about the OpenFlash tablet and the maps that you can load onto that. So what's cool about the OpenFlash tablet is that it opens up a whole new world of possibilities as to what you can do with your bike. So this is a physical tablet that you can plug into your computer to load ECU flashes onto. You can then take the tablet after disconnecting it from your computer, plug it into your bike, and reflash the ECU. Pretty cool, right? And OpenFlash has a few different maps for the 210 V4 and for the RS V4, one of which you get free with the purchase of your tablet. And as they periodically update maps, if they do update maps, just totally at their own discretion, you can request the updated map and then just go load it onto your bike. So you keep it a little bit more current in a sense. So my understanding is that OpenFlash also has custom tuning services or remote tuning services where you can just send them logs and they can adjust your engine map to try to make it ideal for your machine, which is also pretty cool. Again, I'm not 100% certain on that. Probably should have looked it up before I went on this ride, but one of the nice things too about the OpenFlash tablet is it gives you the ability to flash your bike back to stock if you ever needed to for any reason. So next, that brings us to the Gabro Up Map. Now Gabro offers a product that is similar to the OpenFlash tablet, or at least it is my understanding that they do. Again, I have no first-hand experience with their tablet, but based on what I've seen, it looks like it's pretty much the same thing, and they offer similar services to OpenFlash Performance, but specializing a little bit more in motorcycles, specifically Piaggio manufactured bikes. But same deal, this tablet, plug it into your computer, get a map, plug it into your bike, load up that map, and you can change maps whenever you want, reflash with the stock map if you ever wanted to put your bike back to stock. Pretty good option as well, very versatile. So finally, that brings us to the last option that I am aware of, which is to have your bike dyno tuned. Now, dyno tuning is something that many people are familiar with, but in case you aren't, it is where they attach your machine to something called a dynamometer. Now, this machine is basically a rolling road which your driven wheel can spin, or driven wheels if you are operating a car. But it also has a computer system that plugs into your bike to measure things such as the air-fuel ratio and take the measurement of the force against the rolling road and determine how much power the engine is producing and what that visualization looks like, courtesy of a graph. So as the bike is being run on the dynamometer, a professional will be analyzing everything that the bike is doing, air-fuel ratios, power delivery, throttle response, so on and so forth, and can make adjustments between pulls to change the way the bike makes power and the way that the throttle responds. So having your bike dyno tuned is going to give you the optimum performance for your situation, because there are tiny little inconsistencies from one bike to another. You can take two identical 2017 Aprilia Tuono V4 factories, for example, which, while they may look identical, There are little imperfections in manufacturing, slightly different tolerances. We're talking like the most minimal fractions of inches and millimeters, so on and so forth. But this ultimately changes the way the bike performs. And each motorcycle that comes from any manufacturer brand new has a blanket flash, which is designed to offer good performance, but good performance in a range of situations, operating conditions, and also manufacturing tolerances. And as you change things like your exhaust system, your air filter, and other components, it further widens the gap between one bike and another. So, best way to compensate for this is to just have your bike tuned for your specific setup. And your specific bike, obviously. Now, while this will generally give you optimum performance, again, it does depend on your tuner. Not everybody is going to be as talented at tuning a bike. And of course, you don't have the convenience of being able to change maps whenever you want or change back to stock unless you go to your tuner and have them do that for you. There you have it. Everything that I know about reflashing your Tuono V4, RS-V4, or really other motorcycles ECU. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you gave me a gentle little click of the like button and consider subscribing for future motorcycling shenanigans and content in virtual reality, of course. And drop a comment below. What kind of tune do you have on your bike? Who did it? Do you like it? Did I forget anything in this video? Let's talk about it in the comments below. But thanks again so much for watching, and I'll hope to catch you in the next one. Until then, later.